Hey everyone, and welcome back. So we are going to be working on our very own registration / onboarding flow. This is where users have committed to signing up and creating an account, and then they are going to select some things that are going to help us give them more relevant results within our product. So things like customizing their profile with, why are they joining maybe, or what interests they have. So let's jump right in. So I have my registration flow. If you have wireframes around this, bring them in as well. My user flow is almost acting like a pretty nice set of incredibly low fidelity wireframes. Like, it doesn't really tell me much about the content just yet, but I'm just going to work based off of what I already know. Since I've been working on this for quite some time, I think I already know what I want. So definitely bring in all your existing work. I'm going to start with a iPhone 13 Pro screen just over here. I'm going to work beneath it. So you'll probably already have some designs here. You can choose to work on something different, or you can watch my workflow. You can also work with me side by side and see how some of these components that we have built together can actually, feed into this section here. Okay, so as I'm looking at this, one of the first very important user flows, let's look at step 1. User arrives at our welcome screen and notices a button to proceed forward to registration. The user can skip this step. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go into my assets panel and just grab my button. So I already have a button here, and that's all I'm going to need right now. So I can close that panel, but I'm going to throw this button here. Just bring it out. Now at this point, I'm still not super high fidelity. I'm really just figuring out, okay, let's get some text, like actual text over here on the screen instead of these boxes. Let's start thinking about what copy is going to go here. Sometimes we'll be working with content writers or UX writers, but it's always great to fill in the copy as much as possible with copy that is actually meaningful. So don't always use lorem ipsum unless you're really trying to move quickly. Okay, so welcome to the largest, or maybe the world's largest store. I think that's a little cute way of saying it. And at this point as well, as I'm starting to build fidelity little by little, I'm going to be using some of the fonts that I've already started to say, or at least finalize in some way. So I have 32 pixel Laura. I'm just going to make this 115 or 125%. And then it's going to be semi-bold. So there is my title. And then at the bottom, I'm going to make a skip, or maybe it's not a skip at this point, because it's your user flows can be wrong. You don't need to follow them to a T. Already have an account, login. So I'm just going to change this to Inter, which is the font that I chose as my more basic UI font. I'm going to just bring this up, and we are going to make this regular. I'm not worried too much about color as well just yet. And here, probably just underline it and maybe make it medium. Okay, so this is our first screen. Now it's starting to come in. I think the next step after this step that we're working through right now is to, go ahead and make incorporate some imagery in here, and also some other things like fine-tuning the text. So I'm going to make a copy. Oops, I'm just going to Command C and V. So the next step in the process is the user is prompted to add their email and password. They can confirm those details and proceed. Okay, that's pretty easy. Let's go ahead and do that. So maybe we'll have a screen here or some text here that says create account. And I made it 32 pixels because, I'm just creating hierarchy from screen to screen. This is the big welcome screen. This is the secondary screen. So, little less punchy with the text. and okay. And then I'm going to use this again. I'm going to bring that up, holding Option or Alt. Find the things that you love. So just some secondary text. I'm not going to make that underline, but I am going to like decrease the opacity just to signify, okay, this is 75%. So I'm not using all my colors just yet. I'm just, trying to lay a lot of the content out. And I'm going to start using some of my components here. So I have one component here, or you know what? I'm going to use one of my button components. So I'm going to make a copy. I'm going to make this as a secondary button component. And then I'm just going to say, like, I'm going to make it really easy for them. Sign up with Google. So going straight to like a social sign in right away. And then we're going to give them like the option, like, another thing I do want to stress here is like, I'm not trying to be like super perfect, but I am like, I'm starting to build that fidelity. So I'm not really too worried about like how things are laid out just yet in terms of like the renaming of layers and whatnot. So I'm going to just Shift A. There we go. I take my other rules that I have in here, making like a nice little area. I'm going to shrink it in. Okay. Okay, or sign up with email. Maybe this is at like 50% and 12 pixels. Okay. And then below that, now we can use some of our actual components. And so the first one I have here is we have full name, maybe. Actually, I don't even think we need full name. Let's do email. So we have email, and then I don't even think we need a placeholder for this. So we can just toggle that off. Then we have password. And, we could do something where it's like, let's have like the right icon and it's, visibility. Let's see, where is that? So we could play with that icon there. We can leave it on the, okay. Oops. Let's go into my layer. Where's the value? And just to keep that over on the right side. So, okay. So now we have this screen here. I'm not going to really use auto layout just yet because, it takes a lot of time to go through that process over and over again. Now, I think, the one thing here that we need is just to let them know like what step they're in. Step 1. And then I'm going to wrap this in an auto layout frame. I'm going to make sure that there's like little to no spacing between. Then I'm going to duplicate within it. So I'm going to select that layer within it, as you can see in my layers panel. So I have that layer within this frame, and I'm just going to duplicate it, Command D or Control D. And then I'm going to write of 4. So we're going to make 4 steps here. And just to create a bit more hierarchy, that can go up there. And then we'll probably just give them like an easy way to exit. Okay. And boom, we have one of our very first screens here. Keeping it super simple. That's fine. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and I'm going to continue in the next video.